The stars looked peaceful from the bridge of the Dominion warship Inevitable. Admiral Vex stood with his forearms clasped behind his back, his gray skin reflecting the blue glow of nearby screens. His species had evolved to process information quickly, and right now, all the information pleased him. The settlement on Proxima 9 has surrendered. Admiral reported Commander Drill. No resistance this time. Vex nodded. How many ships did we lose? None, Admiral. Not even damage to report. This was how it always went. For 200 years, the Dominion had expanded across the stars, taking planet after planet. Their method never changed because it never needed to arrive with overwhelming force, demonstrate superiority, accept surrender. Those who resisted were crushed quickly to serve as examples. Prepare the integration teams, Vex ordered. I want the population processed and working in our factories within 30 days. Yes, Admiral. On a screen before him, Vex studied the map of conquered territory. The Dominion controlled over 300 star systems now. Their technology advanced with each new species they absorbed. Their ships grew more powerful. Their armies multiplied. And yet, Vex felt restless. What is our next target? He asked. Commander Drill touched a control panel, and the map shifted to show a small cluster of stars at the edge of Dominion space. We have reports of a developing civilization here. Drill said they call themselves humans. They've colonized 12 planets in this region. Their technology is moderate, not primitive, but nothing special. Vex studied the information. Interesting. Their main world, a planet they call Earth. It's protected by a defense fleet, but nothing our forces can't handle. Vex thought for a moment. Send scout ships first. I want to understand their capabilities before we commit the main fleet. Is that necessary, Admiral? Our standard approach. Do as I say, Vex interrupted. Something about these humans made him cautious. He couldn't explain why. Perhaps it was just boredom after so many easy victories. 3 light-years away, Captain Jack Miller of the United Earth Ship Defender stared at his own set of screens. Unlike the massive Dominion vessels, the Defender was small and fast. Built for exploration and quick response, it carried a crew of only 50. Captain were picking up unusual readings from the Proxima sector, reported Lieutenant Anna Jones, the ship's sensor officer. Her fingers moved quickly over her console as she analyzed the data. Define unusual, Miller said, walking to her station. Energy signatures unlike anything in our database, Jones explained. Massive power outputs, and they're moving information toward the settlement on Proxima 9. Miller frowned. Earth Command had been receiving strange reports from outlying colonies for months. Rumors of an unstoppable alien force moving through the stars, conquering everything in its path. Most officials dismiss these as exaggerations or misunderstandings. How far are we from Proxima 9? Miller asked. At maximum speed 3 days, replied the navigator, Lieutenant Mark Chenot. Miller tapped his fingers on the back of Jones's chair, thinking. They were on a routine patrol mission, not authorized for first contact or combat operations. The proper procedure would be to report the readings to Earth Command and wait for instructions. But in 3 days, whatever was happening at Proxima 9 would be over. Set course for Proxima 9. Maximum speed, Miller ordered. Chen turned in his chair. Sir, protocol states. I know the protocol, Lieutenant, Miller interrupted. But if those reports are true, the people on Proxima 9 might need immediate help. We can at least get eyes on the situation. Yes, sir, Chen replied, turning back to his console. Miller returned to his command chair and opened a channel to the engine room. Chief Reed, I need everything you can give me. Chief Engineer Tom Reed's voice came through the speaker. The new drive system isn't fully tested, Captain. I can give you maybe 110% for short bursts, but I can't guarantee how it'll hold up over 3 days. Do your best, Chief. This might be important. Understood, Captain. Read out. Miller leaned back in his chair. The Defender was one of the first ships equipped with the experimental Ghost Drive, a system that could briefly shift the ship partially out of normal space, allowing it to pass through solid matter. The technology was revolutionary, but unreliable. During testing, the drive had worked perfectly 9 times out of 10. That 10th time, it had nearly torn the ship apart. But if the rumors were true, they might need every advantage they could get. The Dominion scout ships reached Proxima 9 before the Defender arrived. They observed the human settlement from orbit, a colony of about 20,000 people. The scouts analyzed Earth's communication networks, defense systems, and technology level. These humans are divided, reported the scout leader to Admiral Vex. They have multiple governments on their homeworld, and their colonies operate with significant independence. Vex processed this information. Division makes them weak. What about their military capability? Limited. Their ships are small and few. Their weapons are basic energy and projectile technology. Nothing that can threaten our forces. Vex nodded. Begin standard invasion protocol. Take Proxima 9 first, then move inward toward their core systems. Yes, Admiral. When the Defender arrived at Proxima 9, the invasion was already underway. The Y Colony's small defense fleet had been destroyed. Dominion ships filled the sky, massive and imposing against the blue-green planet below. "Dear God," whispered Lieutenant Jones as the sensor readings came in. "There are 15 ships down there, Captain. Each one at least 5 times our size." Miller stared at the tactical display. The Defender had maintained its distance using the planet's moon for cover. So far, they hadn't been detected. "What about the colony?" he asked. "I'm picking up weapons fire on the surface," Jones replied. "The colony's defensive shields are failing. They won't last another hour." Miller faced an impossible choice. The Defender was outmatched in every way. Standard procedure would be to retreat, return to Earth with the intelligence, and allow command to prepare a proper response. But by then, everyone on Proxima 9 would be dead or captured. Chief Reed's voice came over the comm. "Captain, I've been looking at those alien ships. They're big and powerful, but their design is repetitive, like they're all built from the same template." "What are you suggesting, Chief?" "Their sensor grid has a pattern to it. If we time it right, we might be able to use the ghost drive to slip between their scanning cycles. Get in close before they know we're there." Miller considered this. It was a desperate plan, but sometimes desperate was all you had. "Lieutenant Chen, plot an approach vector that keeps us in the shadow of their largest vessel," Miller ordered. "Chief Reed, prepare the ghost drive. Lieutenant Jones, arm all weapons." Sir Jones looked uncertain. "We can't possibly win against that many ships." Miller met her gaze steadily. "We're not trying to win, Lieutenant. We're trying to buy time for the colonists to evacuate. Sometimes the impossible fight is the only one worth having." As the Defender moved from behind the moon, Miller sent a tight beam message to the colony below. "Proxima 9, this is Captain Jack Miller of the UES Defender. Begin emergency evacuation procedures. We'll provide what cover we can." Then he turned to his crew, determination in his eyes. "Let's show these aliens that humans don't surrender easily." Though Defender accelerated toward the Dominion fleet, small but defiant against the vast darkness of space, about to become the thorn that would change the fate of humanity forever. The Dominion fleet hung in orbit around Proxima 9 like massive predators. On the bridge of the lead ship, a junior officer approached Commander Drill with confusion clear on his face. "Commander, we've detected a small vessel approaching from behind the moon." Drell barely looked up from his station. "Another human ship. Destroy it. It's not following any predictable course, sir. And our weapon systems are having trouble locking onto it now." Adril's attention was caught. In 200 years of conquest, no species had presented any real challenge. Combat was typically brief and one-sided. "Show me," he ordered. The tactical display revealed a small ship moving in strange patterns toward the Dominion fleet. It seemed to flicker in and out of sensor range, appearing where it shouldn't be possible. Drell's eyes narrowed. "Alert Admiral Vex on the UES Defender." Captain Miller gripped his command chair as the ship phased in and out of normal space. "Ghost drive functioning at 85% capacity," Chief Reed reported from engineering, his voice strained. "We can't keep this up for long, Captain. Just get us close enough for a clean shot," Miller replied. The Defender slipped between 2 massive Dominion vessels, appearing to pass partially through one of them. The alien ships began firing, but their weapons struck empty space where the Defender had been moments before. "They can't track us properly," Lieutenant Jones said, excitement in her voice. "The ghost drive is working." Miller nodded. "What's the status of the colony?" "Evacuation pods are launching, but the Dominion ships are targeting them," Chen reported. "Then let's give them something else to worry about," Miller said. "Target their nearest ship's weapon systems and fire. the Defender materialized fully, just long enough to fire a volley of energy torpedoes at the nearest Dominion vessel. The torpedoes struck with precision, creating explosions along the larger ship's hull. "Direct hits," Jones called out. Miller allowed himself a small smile. How do they like that punch? On the bridge of the Inevitable, Admiral Vex watched the unexpected attack with growing concern. "What is happening?" he demanded. "A single human ship is attacking our fleet," Commander Drell explained, disbelief in his voice. "It's using some kind of technology that allows it to partially phase out of normal space." Vex had never seen anything like it. The Dominion's conquest had always followed the same pattern. Overwhelming force met with fear, then surrender. No species had ever presented a technological surprise. "Destroy that ship," Vex ordered coldly. "We're trying, Admiral. Our targeting systems can't lock onto it when it phases." Vex's skin darkened with anger. "Then fire in patterns. It has to become solid to attack." Back on the Defender, the situation was becoming desperate. "Ghost drive at 60% and falling," Reed warned. "We've got maybe 10 more minutes before it fails completely." Miller knew they couldn't defeat the entire Dominion fleet. That wasn't the plan. They just needed to create enough chaos to let the colonists escape. "Status of the evacuation?" he asked. 30% complete, Chen replied. "They need more time." The ship rocked as a Dominion energy beam grazed their hull. "They're starting to predict our movements," Jones warned. "Adapting their firing patterns," Miller thought quickly. "Chief Reed, can we use the Ghost drive differently? Instead of phasing the whole ship, could we phase just parts of it? Make them think we're somewhere we're not?" There was a pause before Reed responded. "It's not designed for that, but I might be able to modify it. Give me 2 minutes." "You've got one," Miller replied as another blast rocked the ship. Vex watched with growing frustration as the human ship continued to evade. Destruction. Smaller Dominion vessels were now moving to intercept the evacuation pods leaving the planet's surface. Admiral Commander Drill reported, "The human ship has stopped phasing. We have a lock." Vex's 4 eyes fixed on the tactical display. "Fire everything." Multiple Dominion ships fired at once, their energy weapons converging on the point where the Defender appeared to be. The space lit up with destructive energy. "Direct hit," Drell announced. Vex felt satisfaction return. No species could stand against the Dominion. This brief resistance was merely, "Admiral, the human ship is attacking from our flank." Vex turned to see the supposedly destroyed vessel firing on one of his ships from an entirely different position. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "It worked," Reed shouted over the comm. The modified Ghost drive created a perfect holographic projection while phasing us to a new position. Miller nodded in approval. "Good work, Chief. Now let's make the most of their confusion." The Defender fired again, targeting the engines of one of the Dominion ships pursuing the evacuation pods. The ship veered off course, its propulsion systems damaged. "Evacuation now at 50%, Chen reported. "We need to keep this up a little longer," Miller said. "Lieutenant Jones, find me their command ship." Jones studied her sensor readings. "The largest vessel at the center of their formation, sir. But it's heavily shielded. Can we get a message through those shields?" Jones looked surprised. "A message, sir?" "Yes. I want to talk to whoever's in charge." Admiral Vex was still trying to understand how one small ship was creating such chaos when Commander Drell approached. Admiral Vex was still trying to understand how one small ship was creating such chaos when Commander Drell approached. "They want to speak with our commander." Vex considered ignoring it. The Dominion did not negotiate with inferior species, but curiosity won out. "Put it through." A human face appeared on the screen. The creature had only 2 eyes and pale skin, primitive-looking compared to Vex's species. "I am Captain Jack Miller of the United Earth Ship Defender," the human said. "You're attacking a peaceful colony without provocation. We demand you withdraw immediately." Vex almost laughed. "You are in no position to make demands. I am Admiral Vex of the Dominion, and your world will be the next to join our empire." The human's expression didn't change. "We would rather die free than live under your rule. And as you've seen today, we're capable of more than you expected. One ship cannot stand against our fleet," Vex replied. "Vex, this is just the beginning," Miller said. "Earth has thousands of ships, And now that we know you're coming, we'll be ready. It was a bluff. Earth had nowhere near that number of vessels. But Miller delivered it with absolute conviction. You have two choices, Miller continued. Leave now, or face destruction. Vex's four blinked in surprise at the human's boldness. Before he could respond, the transmission cut off. Ghost drive at 40%, Captain Reed reported. We need to leave soon. Miller nodded. Evacuation status, 70% complete, Chen said. Most of the remaining pods are launching now. Good. Prepare to. The ship rocked violently as a direct hit struck their hull. Shields down to 30%, Jones called out. They've adapted to our movement patterns. Miller made his decision. Set course for the jump point. We've done what we came to do. The Defender fired one last volley at the Dominion fleet, then accelerated away from the planet, phasing in and out of normal space to avoid the worst of the enemy fire. Vex watched the human ship retreat, his anger building. For the first time in his long career, a battle had not gone according to plan. The humans had not surrendered. Their ship had damaged several Dominion vessels and allowed many colonists to escape. Should we pursue, Admiral? Drell asked. Vex considered this. The human ship was small, but its technology was unexpected. This ghost drive was something the Dominion had never encountered. No, Vex decided. Return to the fleet. We must analyze what happened here and prepare a new strategy. He turned to stare at the tactical display, where the small human ship was disappearing from sensor range. This Captain Miller and his ship have merely delayed the inevitable, Vex said, but they will learn that no one defies the Dominion and survives. As the Defender jumped into faster-than-light travel, neither side realized that this small battle was the beginning of a conflict that would change the galaxy forever. 1 month after the battle at Proxima 9, Admiral Vex stood before the Dominion High Command. 6 senior leaders of different conquered species sat around a large table, their diverse forms united by the gray skin tone that marked all who had been fully integrated into the Dominion. This human ship continues to be a problem, Vex explained, displaying images of the UES Defender. In the past 4 weeks, it has attacked 3 of our supply convoys and destroyed a communication relay. Hi, Commander Krall, the oldest member of the council, leaned forward. One ship is causing all this trouble. Surely our fleet can handle it. It's not that simple, Vex replied. The humans' ghost drive technology allows them to appear and disappear without warning. They strike quickly and retreat before we can respond. Then adapt our tactics, Krell said dismissively. We have conquered hundreds of worlds. We will not be stopped by one ship. Vex nodded stiffly. I have already diverted 20 warships to hunt down the Defender. We will find it, and we will destroy it. See that you do, Krill replied. Our invasion of human space should not be delayed by such a minor obstacle. Vex left the meeting, with anger burning inside him. To the High Command, this was a small problem. To Vex, it had become personal. No one had ever embarrassed him before. The human Captain Miller would pay for that. The UES Defender drifted in the shadow of a large asteroid, its systems running on minimal power to avoid detection. Inside the ship, the mood was tense but determined. Captain Miller studied the star chart in his ready room with Lieutenant Chen. The Dominion's expansion has slowed, Chen pointed out. They've diverted ships to search for us, instead of pushing deeper into our territory. Miller nodded. That gives Earth more time to prepare. The ghost drive specs have been sent to all major shipyards. They're refitting as many vessels as possible. The door opened and Chief Reed entered with Lieutenant Jones. How's our girl holding up? Miller asked. Reed sighed. I've patched the ghost drive as best I can, but it wasn't designed for this much use. We're operating at 75% efficiency at best. It'll have to do, Miller replied. What about the data you've been collecting? Lieutenant Jones placed a tablet on the table. I've been analyzing Dominion communication patterns. They're incredibly structured, almost like a machine language. I think I can predict their fleet movements based on their transmission patterns. Miller smiled. That's exactly what we need if we can stay one step ahead of them. The ship's alarm suddenly blared. Miller tapped his communication badge. Bridge report. Captain, we've detected multiple Dominion ships entering the system. The OA officer on duty reported they're deploying in a search pattern. I think they know we're here. Miller looked at his officers. How did they find us? They must have improved their sensors, Reed suggested. Or they got lucky, Chen added. It didn't matter now. Battle stations, Miller ordered. Prepare the ghost drive. We're getting out of here. Aboard his flagship, Admiral Vex watched with satisfaction as his ship surrounded the asteroid field. The human ship is hiding in there, he told Commander Drill. Our new quantum detection grid can sense the ghost drive's energy signature even when it's not active. Drill nodded. They don't know we can track them now. Deploy the net, Vex ordered. No escape this time. 20 Dominion warships moved into position, creating a sphere around the asteroid field. They began firing specialized energy pulses that would force any ship using the ghost drive to become fully solid. On the defender system started failing as the ship was hit by the strange energy field. What's happening? Miller demanded. Reed checked his readings with growing concern. They're using some kind of dampening field. It's affecting the ghost drive. Can we jump out? Miller asked. Not while that field is active, Reed replied. We'd be torn apart if we tried to phase now, Miller thought quickly. If we can't use the ghost drive to escape, we'll use conventional tactics, prepare all weapons, target the nearest Dominion ship, and give them everything we've got. The defender emerged from behind the asteroid, engines flaring to life. The small ship accelerated directly toward the nearest Dominion vessel, firing continuously. Vex watched with surprise as the human ship charged directly at his forces. They're being reckless, Drell commented. No, Vex replied. They're being human. This Captain Miller would rather fight than surrender. The defender's weapons struck the targeted Dominion ship with surprising force, causing damage to its forward section. They've modified their weapons, Vex noted with grudging respect. Return fire. Disable that ship if possible. I want Captain Miller alive. The defender shuddered as enemy fire struck its hull. Shields down to 40%, Jones reported. We can't take much more of this. Miller studied the tactical display. They were surrounded, outgunned, and unable to use their greatest advantage. It seemed hopeless. Then he noticed something. The dampening field isn't uniform, he said, pointing to the display. There's a weak point between those two Dominion ships. Reed analyzed the readings. You're right. The field strength is 30% lower there, but it's still too strong for a clean phase-out. What if we don't need a clean phase? Miller asked. What if we just need enough to slip through? Reed looked uncertain. It would be incredibly risky. The ship could be torn apart. We're out of better options, Miller said. Set course for that gap, and prepare to engage the ghost drive at my command. The defender changed direction, heading for the small opening in the Dominion formation. They're trying to escape through the gap, Drill reported to Vex. Close it, Vex ordered. Move ships to intercept. 2 Dominion vessels began adjusting their position to strengthen the field between them. They've spotted us, Chen warned. They're closing the gap. Increase speed, Miller ordered. We'll have to punch through before they can reinforce. The defender accelerated to maximum speed, racing toward the narrowing opening in the enemy formation. Ghost drive ready, Reed reported. But Captain, I have to warn you, this could destroy the ship. Noted, Miller replied. On my mark now. The ghost drive engaged, and the defender began to phase out of normal space. The dampening field fought against the transition, creating visible energy distortions around the ship. The hull groaned under the strain as the defender squeezed through the gap in the Dominion formation. Hull integrity failing, Jones shouted over the noise. Drive stability at critical levels. Miller gripped his chair. Hold together just a little longer. With a final surge of power, the defender broke through the Dominion net, phasing back into normal space beyond their formation. The ship's system sparked and failed across multiple sections. We made it, Miller said, hardly believing it himself. Damage report. Ghost drive severely damaged, Reed reported. Life support systems at 60%. Weapons offline, but we're still in one piece. Set course for the nearest friendly outpost, Miller ordered. Maximum speed on conventional drives. The damaged defender limped away from the battlefield, leaving the Dominion fleet behind once again. Admiral Vex watched the human ship escape with cold fury in his eyes. They damaged the field generator and escaped, Drell reported unnecessarily. I can see that, Vex replied, but they did not escape undamaged. The ghost drive was severely strained. They will need to repair it. We'll continue the hunt, Drell suggested. No. Vex decided they're too good at evading direct pursuit. Instead, we will predict where they must go. He turned to his tactical officer. Identify all possible locations where they could repair their special drive technology. Place our forces there. Vex stared at the fading signal of the defender on his screen. This game of chase is nearly over, Captain Miller. Soon you will have nowhere left to run. As the Dominion fleet regrouped, neither side realized that their private war was inspiring other species to question Dominion rule. Across occupied worlds, stories spread about the human ship that defied the unstoppable conquerors. The Defender was becoming more than a thorn in the Dominion side. It was becoming a symbol of hope. The trading outpost of Haven was built inside a hollowed-out asteroid at the edge of known space. It existed in a gray area between major territories where different species could meet and trade without political complications. It was also one of the few places the damaged UES Defender might find the parts needed to repair its ghost drive. Captain Miller stood at the airlock as Haven's docking clamps secured around his ship, next to him. Chief Reed looked worried. I don't like this. Captain, Reed said quietly. This place isn't officially aligned with Earth. We could be walking into a trap. We don't have many options. Miller replied. The ghost drive needs specialized components we can't fabricate on board, and Haven has a reputation for discretion. For the right price, Reed added. Miller nodded. Lieutenant Jones will stay aboard with half the crew. If anything goes wrong, they'll take the ship and run. Damage drive or not. The airlock door cycled open, revealing a busy trading hub filled with beings of various species. Most Miller had never seen before. The space was filled with small shops, repair bays, and shadowy corners where private deals took place. Keep your eyes open, Miller told Reed and Chen as they stepped through. We're looking for parts, not trouble. The trio moved through the crowded marketplace, drawing curious glances. Humans were rare in this part of space, especially now that the Dominion was targeting their colonies. They approached a large repair bay where a blue-skinned, four-armed alien was working on a small spacecraft. Excuse me, Miller said. We need help with some repairs. The alien looked up, wiping grease from two of his hands. What kind of repairs? Phase shift technology, Miller replied carefully. Our drive system is damaged. The alien's large eyes widened slightly. Phase shift. Very advanced. Very expensive. He lowered his voice. And very interesting to some people these days. People asking questions about ships with such technology. Miller kept his expression neutral. We can pay. Well, I'm sure you can, the alien said. But some things are worth more than money, like information about a human ship that has been causing trouble for the Dominion. Miller's hand moved closer to his concealed weapon. We're just traders looking for repairs. The alien laughed. No one believes that, Captain Miller. Chen and Reed tensed, ready for trouble, but the alien held up his hands in a peaceful gesture. My name is Kororo, he said, and I have no love for the Dominion. They conquered my homeworld 15 years ago, but we should not talk here. He gestured toward a door at the back of his shop. Too many ears listening. In a small back room, Koro served them drinks in mismatched cups. Word of your ship has spread, he explained. The Dominion has put a massive bounty on the Defender and its captain. They are also watching all repair stations and trading posts. It's only a matter of time before they check Haven. Then we need to finish our repairs quickly and leave, Miller said. Kororo shook his head. The parts you need are rare. It will take at least 3 days to gather everything, then another 2 for installation. We don't have that kind of time, Reed protested. You may have more friends here than you realize, Koro said with a mysterious smile. Not everyone in Haven is what they appear to be. A soft knock at the door interrupted them. Koro opened it to reveal a tall reptilian being with emerald scales and a low crest on its head. This is Lisk, Kororo introduced. Once a fleet commander for the Z people, before the Dominion took their world. Lisk's yellow eyes studied Miller carefully. So you are the human who fights the Dominion alone. Not by choice, Miller replied. We're just trying to survive and protect our people as we all did, Lisk said. But none of us succeeded alone. Koro nodded. Lisk has contacts who might help speed up your repairs. In return, they want to meet with you. Miller exchanged glances with Reed and Chen. Meet with me about what? About fighting back, Lisk said simply. That evening, Miller found himself in a hidden chamber, deep within the asteroid. Around a large table sat representatives from 6 different species. All of them had one thing in common. Their worlds had fallen to the Dominion. A female with delicate features and silvery skin stood to speak. I am Salandra of the Novari. My people were among the first conquered by the Dominion over a century ago. We have lived under their rule for generations. Why risk meeting with me? Miller asked. The Dominion would execute you all for this. Because you have done what none of us could, Lisk answered. You have defied the Dominion and survived. Barely, Miller admitted. Even so, Salandra continued, your actions have created hope, something many of us had forgotten. Another alien, small with multiple eyes, spoke up. The Dominion's strength comes from unity and precision. They expect surrender because no one ever resists. But you humans fight differently. Miller looked around the table. We're just one ship. We can't defeat the Dominion alone. Perhaps not alone, Koro said. But what about together? Many of us have technical knowledge of Dominion systems. Others have information about their fleet movements, or access to restricted areas within occupied worlds. Lisk leaned forward. And some of us have ships, not warships like yours, but they could be modified. Miller began to understand what they were suggesting. You want to form a resistance? Condrey nodded. The first unified one. Small for now, but growing. And what do you need from me? Miller asked, though he already knew the answer. Leadership, Lisk said, and the ghost drive technology. If we could replicate it for other ships, we could strike the Dominion in ways they cannot predict or counter. Miller thought of his mission, his duty to Earth. Officially, he should return with the intelligence he had gathered. Captain Chen said quietly, Earth needs time to prepare its defenses. If we help build a resistance out here, it could slow the Dominion's advance. Reed nodded in agreement. And these people know Dominion technology better than we do. They could help us improve the ghost drive, maybe even make it more stable. Miller made his decision. We'll need a secure communication channel to Earth, and the repairs to my ship need to be prioritized. The Defender has to remain operational. Kandra smiled. Then it settled. While your ship is being repaired, we'll begin sharing knowledge and resources. There's one more thing, Miller added. The Dominion is hunting us. If they find us here, everyone is at risk. Haven has existed for centuries by staying hidden and neutral, Kororo explained. We have sensor arrays that give us early warning of approaching ships. As if on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the outpost. What's happening? Miller demanded. Lisk rushed to a communications panel on the wall. After a brief exchange with you, someone he turned back his reptilian face grim. Dominion ships have entered the system. 3 heavy cruisers led by the Inevitable. Admiral Vex's flagship, Miller said, his stomach sinking. They found us. How? Chen asked. We were careful. Koro looked troubled. Haven has many visitors. Perhaps someone recognized your ship and sold the information. We need to evacuate, Kandre urged. If the Dominion finds us meeting like this, no, Miller interrupted. If we all flee at once, they'll know something was happening here. The Defender will draw their attention away while the rest of you disperse normally. Your ship is still damaged, Lisk pointed out. We'll manage, Miller said with more confidence than he felt. We always do. As the meeting broke up, Koro pulled Miller aside. We've already gathered some of the components you need. Take them. My engineers can install them quickly to give you better control of the ghost drive. It won't be fully repaired, Reed warned after examining the parts. It doesn't need to be perfect, Miller replied. It just needs to work long enough to get us and these people out of danger. As Miller and his officers rushed back to the Defender, he felt a strange mix of worry and hope. They were still outnumbered and outgunned. The Dominion was still coming, but for the first time, they weren't facing the threat alone. Sometimes, the most important battles weren't won through superior firepower, but by finding allies in unexpected places. The UES Defender raced away from Haven, its partially repaired ghost drive flickering unevenly. Behind it, 3 massive Dominion cruisers followed in tight formation. On the bridge, Captain Miller studied the tactical display with growing concern. They're not taking the bait, he said. One ship is pursuing us. but the other two are still heading for Haven. Lieutenant Jones looked up from her station. They must suspect there's more than just us hiding there. Miller made a quick decision. Change course. We need to get all three of them following us. Sir, Chen questioned. Our new allies need time to scatter, Miller explained. Let's make ourselves a more tempting target. The Defender banked sharply and accelerated directly toward the largest Dominion ship, Admiral Vex's flagship, the Inevitable. Weapons ready, Miller ordered. Let's give them something to remember. On the bridge of the Inevitable, Admiral Vex watched with surprise as the human ship changed course. They're attacking us directly, Commander Drill reported, targeting our forward weapons array. Interesting, Vex mused. They're either desperate or protecting something back at that outpost. He considered his options briefly. Recall the other cruisers. All ships focus on the Defender. I want that ghost drive technology intact. Yes, Admiral. Vex watched as the small human vessel fired upon his flagship, causing minimal damage but capturing his full attention. So, Captain Miller wants to play the hero. Let him try. It's working, Chen announced. All three cruisers are now following us. Miller nodded grimly. Good. Now we need to lose them. He turned to Chief Reed. How's the ghost drive holding up? Reed checked his readings. The repairs helped, but it's still unstable. We might get 3 or 4 jumps before it fails completely. Make them count, Miller said. Set course for the Ceres Nebula. The radiation there will help mask our signature. The Defender accelerated to maximum speed, pushing toward the distant cloud of gas and dust. The Dominion cruisers followed their superior engines, slowly closing the gap. They'll be in weapons range in 2 minutes, Jones warned. Engage Ghost Drive, Miller ordered. Let's see if Kororo's repairs did the trick. The ship shuddered as the Ghost Drive activated. The familiar sensation of phasing in and out of normal space felt rougher than usual with the ship vibrating violently. Drive functioning at 65%, Reed reported. But the power fluctuations are getting worse. Can we make it to the nebula? Miller asked. Reed's expression was grim. Maybe, but we won't be able to maintain phase once we're there. One problem at a time, Miller replied. Keep us ahead of those cruisers. As the Defender phased in and out of detection, Admiral Vex grew increasingly frustrated. Their drive is unstable, Drill noted. The energy signature is erratic. They're damaged, Vex realized. They came to that outpost for repairs. A smile spread across his face. And they left before those repairs were complete. They're vulnerable. They're heading for the Ceres Nebula, Drill reported. The radiation will interfere with our sensors. Then we must catch them before they reach it, Vex decided. Divert all power to engines and forward weapons. I want that ship disabled, not destroyed. The Defender shuddered as a Dominion energy weapon grazed its hull. Shields down to 40%, Jones called out. They're getting too close. The nebula loomed ahead, a vast cloud of purple and blue gas, illuminated by distant stars. Just a little further. Ghost Drive failing, Reed warned. We can't maintain phase much longer. Miller gripped his chair. One more jump. Get us into the nebula, then cut the drive. The ship phased one last time, jumping forward and disappearing into the colorful gas cloud. The Ghost Drive winded loudly, then went silent as Reed shut it down. We're in, Chen confirmed. Visibility is near zero. Our sensors can barely penetrate 10 kilometers in any direction. That works both ways, Miller said. The Dominion can't find us either. Kill all non-essential systems. Minimal power only. The bridge darkened as systems powered down. The Defender drifted silently in the nebula, waiting. We've lost them, Drell admitted. As the Dominion ships reached the edge of the nebula, Vex stared at the swirling gases with hatred. They're in there hiding like cowards. Our sensors cannot penetrate the radiation, Drill said. We could send in scout ships, but it would take days to search the entire nebula. Vex didn't have days. The High Command was already questioning his obsession with one human ship. No, he decided. We'll try something else. He turned to his weapons officer. Prepare to fire radiation dispersal charges into the nebula. Hundreds of them. But sir, Drill protested, that could trigger a chain reaction in the unstable gases. It might cause the entire nebula to ignite. Exactly, Vex said coldly. Either the humans will be forced to flee, or they'll burn with it. On the Defender, Miller and his crew waited in tense silence. Emergency lighting cast an eerie red glow across the bridge. "Captain," Jones whispered suddenly, "I'm detecting unusual energy readings at the edge of the nebula. The Dominion ships are launching something." Reed analyzed the data. "They're dispersal charges if enough of them detonate in the nebula." His face paled. The whole place could ignite like a bomb. Miller realized they were out of options. They couldn't run with a failed ghost drive, and they couldn't hide from a burning nebula. "Open a channel to Haven," he ordered. "Emergency frequency." "Sir." Jones looked confused. "Our new friends said they wanted to help," Miller explained. "Let's see if they meant it." In another part of the nebula, hidden from both the Defender and the Dominion fleet, a small fleet of ships waited. Koro and Lisk stood on the bridge of the lead vessel, monitoring the situation. "The human captain took a great risk to protect us," Salandra said, joining them. "He didn't have to come back to warn us about the Dominion ships, and now he's trapped," Lisk added. "The Dominion is preparing to ignite the nebula." Koro checked, his console as a signal came through. "It's the Defender. They're calling for help." The three aliens exchanged looks. Coming to the humans' aid would reveal their existence to the Dominion. There would be no turning back. "We are few," Lisk said realistically. "Our ships are not warships." "No," Sandra agreed. "But neither were we warriors before the Dominion took our worlds." She straightened her silver shoulders. "Perhaps it's time we became warriors again." Kororo nodded and opened a channel to the other ships in their small fleet. "All vessels, prepare to attack on my signal. Today we fight beside the humans." Admiral Vex watched with satisfaction as the first wave of charges penetrated the nebula. Soon either the human ship would flee or it would be destroyed. Admiral Drill called out suddenly, "We're detecting multiple ships emerging from the far side of the nebula." Vex turned in surprise. "What ships? Identify them." Before Dill could answer, the Dominion fleet was struck by weapons fire from a dozen different directions. Small mismatched vessels swarmed from the nebula, attacking with surprising coordination. "These aren't warships," Drell said in confusion. "They're civilian vessels, retrofitted with weapons. Different designs from at least 6 species." Vex couldn't believe what he was seeing. Species fighting together. This is unprecedented. In the chaos of the unexpected attack, no one noticed the UES Defender slipping away from the nebula, its ghost drive jury rigged for one final jump. "Now," Miller ordered, as the Defender materialized directly behind the inevitable. "All weapons target their engine core." The human ship fired everything it had at the Dominion flagship's vulnerable rear section. The ghost drive overloaded completely, sending power surges through the Defender's weapon systems, inadvertently amplifying their destructive power. The inevitable shields failed under the assault, and the engine core was breached. Explosions rippled along the massive ship's hull. On his damaged bridge, Admiral Vex watched in disbelief as his systems failed around him. The once invincible Dominion fleet was in disarray, confused by attacks from multiple directions, and the devastating strike from the human vessel. "This is impossible," he whispered as his flagship began to break apart. As the inevitable exploded, a shock wave knocked the Defender away. The human ship, its systems failing and ghost drive destroyed, tumbled through space. "We did it," Miller said, as emergency systems struggled to stabilize the ship. But at what cost around them? The small Alliance fleet regrouped, having suffered losses, but achieved the impossible, a victory against the mighty Dominion. "Captain," Jones called out, "I'm receiving transmissions from across the sector. Word of the battle is spreading. Other worlds are rising up against Dominion rule." Miller looked out at the debris that had once been Admiral Vex's flagship. What had started as one ship, becoming a thorn in the Dominion's path, had grown into something much greater, the beginning of a revolution. "Send a message to Earth," Miller ordered. "Tell them the Dominion can be beaten, and tell them we're not alone anymore." As the damaged Defender limped away from the battlefield, surrounded by its new allies, Miller knew that the real war was just beginning. But for the first time, it was a war they might actually win. The end.